Hey guys, it's Alexander Williamson here with The Secret History Living Inside of Your Aquarium. Today we're going to clear up a couple questions that folks have been asking me lately, and I figured I'll just make a video rather than answer everybody's question that happens to be very similar. So, right now we are looking at Neocaridina shrimp. These are known as Neocaridina davidi, and they are a wild dwarf shrimp from the coast of Asia. They are found in Southeast Asia, around southern China, northern Vietnam. There's some variations and other types of Neocaridina that are also found throughout Taiwan and Thailand, other coastal areas in Southeast Asia, and some island chains as well. These ones happen to be very bred in the hobby. They're a line within cages and tanks that have been bred purposefully to be yellow. Now, a lot of these yellows come from the painted fire or orange color cherry shrimp lines, and then they have a mutation where the red is less severe and there's actually a yellow pigmentation in them. The pigmentation that causes the yellow is a xanthrophore is what it's known as, and it's not present in all shrimp, but it is a gene that is possible in all these Neocaridina shrimp. It's just not expressed. It's kind of an old trait, and that allows it to be kind of a tan, dusty color in the wild, and then it mixes with other colors in its pigmentation to end up looking like this. Now, the question that everybody has been asking recently is kind of a two-part question. The first one is, how can I tell when my shrimp are going to get pregnant or have babies? And also, what are my shrimp doing when they go insane? So sometimes you'll just see shrimp swimming up and down and all over the place. Right now, this is happening in my tank. You'll see, even though the guppies are out and there aren't a ton of adults in this tank, this is one of my breeding tanks, and I'm doing an experiment in this tank at the moment where I have, see, you'll notice the shrimp are just like cruising around everywhere right now for no reason, it looks like. And people were asking me, why do they do this? And also, how can you tell if they're going to get pregnant or if they are pregnant, that sort of thing. And so I've kind of touched on this in the past, but we'll kind of stick with shrimp pregnancy in this and why they're doing this bouncing around everywhere. Pardon the algae on the glass. In these tanks, I like to let the mulm or the fish droppings and also just food and other detritus fall because shrimp eat that. They pick through it and eat it. Same with some of the cloudiness on here. It's actually algae. So I allow the algae to grow on my shrimp tanks because they eat it. So I find that they're happier, and such is life. So back here, you can see the shrimp's anatomy pretty well. You can actually see that it just pooped. These shrimp, these are gold line, golden sakura shrimp. I got these from Lucas Bretz, lrbaquatics.com, and I was trying to find one that would hold still for a moment, but basically right here we have a pregnant one, and you can see, if we can get that into focus, she's got all these little spheres in her belly. She's trying to hide from us right now, but she's got all these little spheres in her belly, and she's already pregnant. So you'll be able to tell when they're pregnant very easily. See that right there? That's how you tell they're pregnant, when they are full of eggs like that. Now, they store these eggs in what we call a saddle. This is probably nothing new to a lot of you guys, but you'll know the difference between a male or a female, especially in other color variants, when you see a saddle. So this shrimp back here, you see that dark spot on her shoulder? Well, okay, great. Nobody's cooperating. Everybody's being a diva. All right, so you can see here they've got a shoulder that has a bunch of dark stuff in it. That's their organs, and their stomach is really a straight line, and so some of their other organs are in there but they don't have a very complex system of organs and things compared to fish and other life forms. So this is a male here, and that's who's going crazy, is all the males in the tank. So you'll see, if you see shrimp swimming by, they're males, and the males are more slender, and they also have their swimmerettes, their legs, sticking out, and they have 10 of those. Here's another one swimming around, and they are swimming around because a female is ready to give, to get pregnant, to give her eggs up to the most willing contender, the most agile, and the one who runs around the most, basically. So the females, they actually put out a signal in pheromones, in enzymes and hormones. Here you can see some newly hatched babies as well. And they put out a signal, and it causes these males to try to figure out which female put out that smell, that signal. And in the case of this one, it's not going to be her. But when she was ready to be pregnant, what happens is a transformation right before they give off this signal. And the transformation is that they shed, they molt. And what they do is that outside exoskeleton is known as the carapace. And when they are breeding, when they're ready to get pregnant per se, they will have eggs right where she's scratching. That's where they'll have a thing called a saddle, which is actually their ovaries, and you can see in a female shrimp that is ready to have babies that her saddle will be filled with little teeny round balls, and to a lot of people it'll just look like a dark spot, maybe yellow, maybe green, maybe brown. It depends on the color of your shrimp. But right there, you see that saddle? That color there is her eggs up in her back. And when she has shedded recently, when she molts, she'll leave behind an empty shell. And I bet you more than anything, I'd bet you anything, that there is a shed somewhere nearby in here from the females in this tank. And a lot of times you'll have several females do this at once. In the wild, they tend to do it in the spring as much as possible, and then in the summer as well. Now, what they do is they lose that shell because they cannot grow. They don't grow like you and I or like other animals. They can only grow as big and as wide as that outside skeleton, exoskeleton, or shell allows them to grow. So what happens is, this is what happens. You're seeing it happen right now. She is bringing her eggs down. This is really good timing, you guys. So she's bringing her eggs down from her saddle. You see those yellow little balls in there, right? If we zoom in even more, right in the center of her shoulder, those are her eggs, and her saddle is moving down. And she put out the signal saying, "Hey, I just molted and I'm ready. I have I have a month to 3 months where I am big. I have grown. I just got rid of my old skeleton, and the rush is on to get pregnant." So she needs to look at these males and decide who she wants to mate with. Now, when shrimps mate, they basically they don't mate the same as humans or a lot of mammals and things. What they do is they actually carry those eggs. She has those eggs, and she will transfer them once she gets enough action from the male suitors who are swimming around all over the tank right now. Usually this tank, they just kind of crawl around and swim once in a while, but tonight they're going nuts. They're going all over the tank. And they will find her back there or wherever she ends up, and she's watching them right now, making sure that they look healthy, they smell healthy. She'll feel them, she'll maybe clean them and kind of taste them and make sure that they're compatible for up to snuff of her desires. And then she'll take those eggs that are in her and she'll start moving them to her swimmerettes, which are the set of legs she has down below on her the back end of her body. So up here, sorry guys, I know that was a little bit of a quick move, but back here you can see where she has stored those eggs. So those eggs are moving from this saddle, which is this triangle here on that shrimp, and they have gone down into her belly. And when they're in the belly, then they're able to be fertilized. So here is another one, another female that also is ready, and she is just molted. You can tell her legs are a little more fragile, and there's some like white goo stuff on them. She just got out of her former smaller exoskeleton, and now she's got the signal out. The other one has the signal out, and they're waiting for these males, whichever one looks biggest, strongest, most competent, has the highest education and the nicest car, will be picked. Now what's interesting about this shrimp is you could actually see she has another saddle coming in even though she's pregnant. So she will have that next saddle, and that tells us that she's about to get rid of these eggs. As soon as you can see little eyeballs in these eggs she's holding, you'll know that within a day or two. And actually you can see some eyeballs in here. They just look like little dark spots that might be hard to see on film. But that means she's about to lay them, and then we'll have another set of eggs coming in, and she'll probably molt in between that, just because, as I said, they cannot molt just anytime they want. They have these set intervals where they molt, and they're really susceptible to predators. They essentially don't have a shell, and she has lost her shell, and now she's got those eggs, and she's just holding them in storage right at that valve, basically, a doorway, to then pass them to her undercarriage. And the male will come by, and he'll line up in an L shape with her in a 90-degree angle to her body, and he'll kind of mismatch, get underneath her, and he will put a sperm in a packet and hand it to her, kind of in this like little a small little cluster of it. Then he will either hand it to her and kind of tuck it up under her, or she will, and the eggs, as they're coming out of the doorway, essentially, they get washed in that fertilization, the sperm. So when you see a shrimp that has eggs underneath their belly like this, you know 100% that they're fertilized, and that they have just shed recently, and that they will shed again probably after giving birth. Now, it's usually about a month of pregnancy for these, somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks. It can vary quite a bit depending on how hot you keep them, the conditions, the nutrition, and all that. And then they put out these little guys. Now, these ones are probably a month or two old at this point, and they're juveniles, but you can really see the inside bodies on these yellow shrimp. And so that's what's going on when your shrimp are spazzing and going crazy, is you're seeing that. And you can see those legs tucked up under the body. That's what they're using to hold on to their own clutch of eggs. And they juggle them. If you haven't seen this before, she'll probably be doing it any moment here. She'll be juggling these eggs, and you can see the little eyeballs. You guys see the little eyeballs? That's what I was talking about. So those ones will hatch tonight or tomorrow, most likely. Both of these females are pregnant, and actually she might be in the process of giving birth now. I see some eggs being moved down in her belly. So those eggs there are totally formed little shrimp, and they'll come out and then they'll go to ground. They can move, they can function just like shrimp, but they have their first shell and they go straight to safety. So they'll jump out of their mom and they'll go hide somewhere under there. Then their mom will probably go hide because her shell is getting brittle, it's getting squeezed, and so she'll start doing these little exercises where she scrunches up and folds herself in half, basically, and that kind of cracks the outside of that shell, and then she can get out of there. But see, here comes the male, and are we going to see it? Are we going to see it? maybe not yet. She looks like she's more interested in foraging right now. But back here, we've got another female and some males, and they're attempting it also. So the males are the clearer ones with the swimmerettes that are exposed, whereas the females have this armor around their swimmerettes because that's where they keep the eggs. So you can see here that she's got thick yellow armor on her sides, and her swimmerettes are tucked in there, and she can kind of keep it closed, but they'll be juggling these eggs in their belly so that they get, one, exposed to oxygen, two, so they don't get moldy or rot on them from standing still too long, and three, so that they're exposed to different things in the environment that affect their immune system, and then when they're born, they will be ready to go in this environment. They'll have kind of adapted to it. So I hope that clears up what in the heck your shrimp are doing. This is true with Caridina shrimp. This is true with Neocaridina. This is true with a mono shrimp, although there are higher and lower class types of shrimp breeding, and one is you lay eggs and they turn into larvae and they go out to sea and come back, and they have several stages of life, whereas these actually have a fully formed baby shrimp in each egg, and once those eggs have hatched, you have little teeny shrimp. And in this tank, my experiment is I'm letting them hide in the moss and things, even though there's guppies here which will gladly eat them. And then I also have a bunch of yarn, so I'm doing almost like a spawning mop that you do for fish. And so far it seems to be working, because I started with a dozen of these, and now I've got a whole bunch and new generations of several different ages. And obviously we have several mating all going on right now. So I hope that this video enlightens you a little bit about what in the heck they're doing, and some of the biology of these shrimps. Why, when you see them shed, it's a good sign that they might be getting ready to have babies. This female probably just had some babies, and she's got her legs tucked up well underneath her, and she's just eating and working on getting her strength back. Whereas the males, which are usually less vivid in color and things, they have their swimmerettes out, ready to swim, ready to fight, ready to hold on to the female, and then take their longer arm and they'll tuck that around, and they'll insert the sperm package into the female's belly, where she can then grab it with her little grabbing swimmerettes, and can put that right in the doorway so that each egg gets fertilized as it comes out. So I hope this was educational to you guys. I know a lot of you have probably heard this all before, but it's kind of cool that just by random luck, I've done 3 takes, and this take is the one where we literally got to catch a failed attempt by a male trying to mate with the female, and then successfully we've gotten to see a lot of different stages of pregnancy. Here goes another female that has given birth to some shrimp. We got to see the eyes. We got to see a female literally moving her eggs from her saddle to her belly underneath her swimmerettes. And that's why the males are cruising all over the tank way more than usual. Whereas in a normal shrimp tank, it may appear more like this, where the shrimp are just hanging out, doing their thing, not swimming in the wide open with the fish and stuff. So you can see here, these shrimp don't care. They're swimming right past guppies and things like that. They are all ready to go, thinking about love in the air. So I hope this was fun. Let me know if you like this, if you need to know more, if you've seen this in your shrimp, or maybe you have a kind of shrimp that I haven't seen that doesn't do this. I'd like to hear about that too. And big shout out to Lucas Bretz, who I bought these shrimp off of a while back, and then he gave me some more for doing some art for him as well. So they're a very good line. I've been culling them a little bit and making them even that much better. And yeah, so that's all I have to say. I know it was long-winded, but if you'd like to see more, like to learn more, please subscribe. Click that little bell so you can be notified in the future about live streams, giveaways, and more little educational anatomy and history segments on different critters. So, take care of yourself, take care of your tank, and if you see my fish in these schools, please think about sending them through college. If you like the channel and the content, you can do that by visiting my Patreon page in the link below, as well as links to discounts and vendors, as well as friends in the breeding side of things that have helped out the channel, as well as just have a great selection of critters, plants, animals, and goods, and discounts that I can offer you guys on this channel. Alright guys, take it easy and I'll talk to you later.